Here we've got Legendary Drops with his video basically covering the absolute conquering success of Palworld over the last couple of years and how they've gone from kind of choking a little bit to staying well beyond potentially afloat. They are very much, in the sense, comfortable and are winning. Let's jump into Legendary Drops video. I've seen a bit of it, and it is really all they've had is journalism going ballistic at them with the worst titles, with the absolute hate for no apparent reason. And when you boil it down to like what are they pointing at? What are they looking at, right? They're looking at the creative aspect of the game. They're looking at, oh, it looks like and feels like Pokemon, right? For example, that is the main hit topic of what the problem is. But really, at the end of the day, we all find creativity from inspiration, right? Like, that's where we find it from. We don't find it from, like, you're not, it's very hard to come up with the most original idea ever, right? Like, how you gonna do that? You're not gonna come up with the most original idea that there is. There's you can get close, but it's always an inspiration or a twist of something. For example, from memory, I'm pretty sure Pokemon actually took their stuff from a lot of their stuff from Digimon, which where like this is not go both ways, Mr. Nintendo mans. Like, what are we doing here? What are we playing at?
Of Palworld. We're going to talk about what this game means for the rest of the industry, how this game goes to show that the only voice that matters in this conversation is ours, and how I think Nintendo should be scared. So, Palworld has always held a really special place in my heart, because when I was laid off 2 years ago and I decided to go all in on YouTube, it was one of the very first games that I had covered. Its success, along with Baldur's Gate 3, really helped to launch this channel, and I don't think that was simply just because those games were popular. I think it's because of the counterculture movement that kind of formed around those games. I'm not really too sure if a lot of you guys remember this, but player expectations clashing with developers and publishers complaining about the realities of game development was a massive topic at the time, and
this was true. This was a big topic at the time. I remember when Palworld hit, and we were playing early access. I noticed a massive community shift, if you will, in the game development space and in the community, or just in the industry as a whole, really. Gaming. Like, I feel like 2 years ago, it was like, everyone was like, oh, it's just gaming's dead. And ever since then, it's kind of fallen that way. Or at least we kind of fall into that expectation every time. And when Palworld released, it was like, at that time where everyone felt like gaming was dead. But it wasn't, to some, because this game was so controversial. Some ended up sticking around like crazy. I know I did. It was bloody awesome. This game is sick. And some obviously turned to the hate side of it. So it was quite an interesting time for it to release and come out to the audience. It just looks like ass.
I think that period largely closed the chapter on players being willing to listen or have any empathy for anybody that was asking for their money. With Baldur's Gate 3, developers and journalists were saying that it was unfair for players to expect a game of a similar quality from anybody else, even though Larian had made it with fewer developers, a smaller budget, and
made it on way less of a budget. Way less.
Roughly the same amount of time frame as any other AAA game.
Shit.
With Palworld, it was full-on gatekeeping. The industry did everything they could to write off that game's success because millions of players were flocking to something that they had already dismissed as a blatant ripoff and the antithesis of modern game design.
They tried everything with, like, look at these titles. Palworld struggled to find a developer with shooter experience in Japan before stumbling on a self-taught hobbyist who worked at a convenience store. This is how this game came about. Like, this is how the gameplay came about. Not the AAA studio standard that you think, but just some guys coming together that had a vision and brought the best of everything that they saw and thought was the best of everything from every game into one game. The world's most popular video game is a huge mistake, from ripping off Pokemon to forcing players into the worst possible scenarios. No game is more cursed than Palworld. Okay, Luke. Alright, Mr. Luke. If that's what you reckon. If you're really committed and you really want to see the game cook, and which this team obviously did, they had so much care, like, push for this game, and they've clearly worked insanely hard on the game over the last 2 years since 24, and it shows their passion and the amount of work that they put into the game in that time. Pocket Pair just has a bit more passion than the next studio, and it shows, and that's all.
With the gamer writing, it isn't a plucky indie game sticking it to the AAAs. It is yet another copycat without an original bone in its body. It's not heralding the death of creativity.
Which is crazy.
The CEO, a big fan of AI, but with a catalog of not Breath of the Wild, not Ark, and not Hollow Knight. Is it really shocking that he would endorse a tool that shamelessly rips off artists? And copycats like this are a dime a dozen. They're not indicative of the industry's future. Everything about it is something we have seen countless times. This is just a rare instance of a knockoff blowing up. Fans will latch on to this as ammunition in endless arguments online, but I can't see Palworld sticking around for long because it simply isn't that good.
I'll say that. I think the other day on Steam charts alone, it was at 800,000 concurrent players, sorry. Yeah, say that to the 800,000 concurrent players. Just on Steam alone.
Right now. But when the
That's insane.
Moves on, that hollow foundation will crumble. Oh no.
And keep in mind now, the console community is really like a strong backbone of what the gaming industry is. Like, a lot of the sales will come from there. A lot of the younglings and whatnot have bloody consoles and all this shenanigans instead of the big expensive PC setups.
Oh, somebody needs to do a wellness check on these journalists because, oh man, were they wrong. During early access, the game had reached 2.1 million concurrent players on
2 million concurrent players on Steam.
Becoming the second game in the history of the platform to ever break over 2 million players, later overtaken by Black Myth Wukong. It went from 1 million to 6 to 7 to 19 to 25, and then earlier this year, 40 million players in total. It sold 15 million copies in its first year, past 25 million by the end of 2025. And
God damn!
Release, it has broken records yet again by reaching over 855,000 concurrent players on Steam.
Look at that. That's a win. That's a huge win.
Re-entering the most
indie studio
platform in its entire history.
Couple of peeps hanging out.
It has likely sold well over 30 million copies, which, guys, that's Pokemon numbers. Palworld.
Oh my god, it is. 34 for Scarlet Violet and Area 0. Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald was 37.9, so like 38. I mean 38, sorry. Damn. Okay. Palworld's on that, Palworld's on that pokey grind. Okay, we see you.
World is now the first real
It's on the same level as Pokemon.
creature collecting contender that we have ever seen enter into this industry.
No, that's
insane.
insane.
And yet, for some odd reason, we still have an incredible amount of mental gymnastics that are coming from mostly deranged Pokemon fans who are trying to argue that Palworld actually failed to regain its momentum, that the game somehow is actually a flop, and that everybody needs to accept that they've been supporting scammers because, well, it didn't do the exact same absurd 2 million players that it reached at the beginning of early access just 2 years ago. Some of them even tried to debate me on it.
Damn.
Even tried to debate me on it.
2.1 all-time peak.
There is simply just no debate to be had here. Palworld is bar none one of the most successful games in the last decade. It is one of the best-selling new IPs in the past 10 years, maybe even longer than that. Only
Easy.
PUBG, which spent its first few years as a premium game and sold 75 million
PUBG was... I don't even know PUBG was...
copies, and Overwatch, which sold over 50
sold.
million copies.
I thought it was free the whole time. What the hell?
The fact that Palworld was able to even reach
What
2
the
million
actual
concurrent
hell?
players in early access was already absurd. The fact that they brought back more than 40% of that audience and reached over 800 million players for their 1.0 launch. Guys, these are numbers.
How many
Reached
now?
over 800 million players.
Shit! 800, how many? 800 million? No.
For their
Yeah,
1.0
800,000
launch.
is
These are
insane.
numbers that publishers dream about. And
That was
there's a good
one of
chance
those.
that number is going to continue to grow because, well, there are hundreds of hours of gameplay inside of a game this massive. I am
And it's even bigger now.
astounded by this game.
What's crazy is, like, we were chilling out. We loaded up Palworld for the first time in a hot sec in like a year or so. And we jumped on our old world, the footage we were seeing earlier. My base never felt so, like, under, what's the word? Where it just don't work. It's not up to par. It ain't it, chief. But then I was like, you know what? Nah, I want to see it from the beginning. Beginning again. I want to see it from the start, from scratch. I want to feel it all. And plus, to be honest now, I got back on that game and I have no goddamn clue what the hell I was doing. It's true. It's true. But we'll start from scratch and we'll like kind of learn it all and whatnot.
This game should not have succeeded. Critics and developers hounded it from the very beginning. They called it unoriginal, and even now, writers are still desperately trying to paint this game as a ripoff.
Palworld just redesigned its monsters to look less like Pokemon for 1.0 release. Wait, isn't that a good thing though? Because now in early access, the original complaint you see was, we don't like the game because it copies Pokemon. Now it's, we don't like the game because they move their design away from Pokemon. Patricia? Who are you, Patricia? Is that Patricia? Who are you?
Just put out an article recently framing the character design changes as an attempt to make pals look less like Pokemon. These guys are just still upset that players enjoyed something that they did not. This game is also made by a bunch of inexperienced developers who had never even worked on a game before. Then on top of that, you had these Pokemon fans that were lawsuit baiting and
maybe they're brothers.
Trying to destroy their reputation by fabricating evidence that Palworld was directly stealing models from Pokemon, something that never happened. None of that actually resulted in a lawsuit. Nintendo did not sue Pocket Pair over the creature designs because they couldn't. How could they? I mean,
they had a lot of work. To be honest, the size of this game, the map size, the amount of Pokemon, the amount of mechanics that went into this little bad boy was impressive just for early access. So granted, some inspiration may have been taken from other models. Might have been the case. Might have been the case.
So instead, what Nintendo did is they sued them for everything else. Throughout this game's development, Pocket Pair has been hammered by Nintendo, and one of the most blatant,
oh yeah, they sure have.
I've ever seen of a publisher just trying to financially destroy its competition.
You bet your sweet bippy they
have. The game had launched, Nintendo sued Pocket Pair over patents. First, it was the act of capturing characters in a ball, and then it was aiming and throwing an item with a displayed success rate, and then finally, it was using creatures.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about before. What was it again?
It was aiming and throwing an item with a displayed success.
Yeah, aiming and throwing an item with a displayed success rate.
Finally, it was using creatures as mounts, and with that, they were trying to seek an injunction to stop the game from being distributed entirely.
And it got distributed.
And they hoped that something would stick. That's this entire thing. It's basically what they did
from
the very beginning. Even going as far as to file patents during the lawsuit and attempt to retroactively sue Pocket Pair for ideas.
Rewrites. Oh, I do remember this. Yes. So Nintendo basically, like, so Palworld came out with all these, like, you know, functions, features, and ideas, right? Everyone loved it. It was awesome. And then Nintendo went and patented a bunch of those ideas and was like, oh, we thought about that idea, you know, a little bit ago. Just trust me. Like, we thought about it a little bit ago, and we just didn't patent it yet, but we actually had the idea. And it's like, Nintendo, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? And it tried to and then use that as on the lawsuit against Pocket Pair to be like they're using patented ideas while actively in it. It's like, what are you doing?
They did not actually hold patents to before the case had began. All of this was setting a dangerous precedent for gaming as a whole. If Nintendo got its way, it could effectively ruin countless games across the entire industry by claiming ownership over basic mechanics like writing creatures. But it became increasingly
if that was the case, why is Pokemon not like up and at Arc or up and at like in literally any game where you ride a creature? And like a stretch would be like Red Dead where you ride a horse, right? Like, that isn't even like, you are limiting, studios that do this are limiting creative freedom for the future games and development. And that's the problem here. Nintendo's putting such a chokehold on anything that's slightly related to this concept / idea that if anyone is in the slightest closest area of doing it, it's lawsuit after lawsuit. And that completely limits the creative aspect that World has. Because now indie developers aren't going to go out of their way because they're terrified to create games that are near or remotely like something in case a big studio is going to steamroll them, right? And that's not fair for the creative space, just in general. Just like take it like it, I feel like a fair, like a reasonable, like, I guess an analogy, like idea to look at it like it would be, think of it like if someone took a photo of a tree, right? The most, like, probably one of the, you know, a tree's everywhere, right? You know, it's in every background and whatnot. If someone took a photo of the tree, is trees now not allowed to be, like, taken in photos? Because it was their idea to take a photo of a tree. Like, when something that's limiting the creative, like, reach that people can do. If someone painted a waterfall and then was like, no one can paint waterfalls now, there would be, like, one painting of a waterfall, right? Like, which doesn't make, like, any creative range for anything. And it's the same with if the first ever game that came out was like, oh, you can't, like, they pretty much went after everyone and was like, you can't make games, basically. We patent this and copy this. And now we're only limited to what that studio does and produces. Would gaming be where it is now if only that one ever studio was to produce and make games? No, it would be nowhere near. The only reason it is where it is because it's creative growth and allowing everyone to be inspired and build upon that inspiration.
Obvious that Nintendo's real goal was just to keep Pocket Pair trapped in legal battles, drain them of their resources, and then drive the company out of business. Pocket Pair's CEO
100%.
accepted that challenge, saying that he would not back down because he didn't want indie developers to be discouraged from...
Which is huge. Like, Pocket Pair, huge W. Palworld developer response to Nintendo lawsuits will not. We will do our utmost to ensure that indie devs are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas, which is what they're doing by this.
I'm gonna be real with you guys.
That's huge.
The little guy does not win. I would imagine that basically the entire purpose of this kind of frivolous lawsuit or these legal battles is literally just to drain them of their resources and then force the studio to either shut down or stop supporting the game. That way,
100%.
Nintendo would no longer...
It's a money thing. It's just drown in money. A small studio doesn't have any funding.
Longer have to worry about the competition, the unflattering comparisons, or the damage.
Comparatively to Nintendo, as we just saw, their last sets of games are well over 30 million sales per game.
To its own brand when parents accidentally confuse Palworld for Pokemon and they don't want to buy the game with the slavery and guns. I don't really know exactly what their problem was, but even with Nintendo's intervention, none of that stopped players from supporting the game. And to much displeasure of the rest of the industry and many other developers and also the media, well, other studios also began supporting Palworld. Terraria brought cosmetics, bosses, and more with its crossover. Ultra Kill then followed with one of its own. Valheim and Corekeeper later joined Palworld in these group bundles where the studios could support one another. All of this helped Pocket Pair to hold out against one of the most litigious publishers.
I remember getting ads for like that Mushroom game, Mushroom Warrior or something. Like, what was that other one? Yeah, Valheim.
Studios could support
all these studios were teaming up, collabing with Palworld, and it was probably one of the best things for just indie community and space in general. It was
Pocket Pair to hold out
studios coming together.
Prestigious publishers in the industry, with the lawsuit now reportedly
to beat out those AAAs.
Only able to win around $30,000 in damages. Oh, don't you just love to see justice served? Palworld did not have the approval of the media. It didn't have the protection of a major publisher. It didn't have the reputation of established studios or an army of experienced developers behind it. Nearly every institution that normally gets to decide what game deserves to succeed told players that this game was cheap, derivative, unethical, temporary, or just outright illegitimate. And players ignored every single one of them. They couldn't shame people out of playing it. They couldn't convince them that this game was already dead. They couldn't bury this game beneath accusations of plagiarism. And even Nintendo couldn't even litigate them out of existence. Palworld just became larger, stronger, and more difficult to remove. That's what makes this
our community, baby,
story way bigger than just one successful game. Palworld exposed just how little authority these people actually have. Collectively decide that something is worth supporting. The industry spent 2 years telling everyone what Palworld was supposed to be, and the players, the ones that were actually playing it, they were the ones that actually decided what it was. How embarrassing. I love it. I love this game. I love the story behind it. I love everything that happened. This has to be one of the most validating experiences I have ever had. It's probably true for a lot of you guys as well. The industry was wrong. The players were right. It's not like that ever happens, right?
Yeah, it's the old saying, right? Customers always right.
It's literally the meme.
Consumers have control of the market at the end of the day.
Game and the guy just having fun playing it. These guys threw a tantrum for like 2 years straight about this game, and it resulted in nothing other than it just becoming more successful.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
One thing that is always
became more successful
is how poorly it was treated by the industry at large, both by game developers and also by the media itself. This is exactly the kind of game that we want to see succeed. This is literally David versus Goliath.
Perfect.
Pokemon has held a chokehold on this genre.
Perfect
it is
analogy.
thought to be impenetrable by most. In most cases, people can only find very niche success in this genre, never to challenge the throne. And now we have a usurper. We should be celebrating that. That's something that we should be looking
For
to support
sure.
because that ultimately
100% agree with
Pokemon games.
100% agree with what he's saying here. I feel like the space recently, the last couple of years, has been moving towards indie studios being more more appreciative. People are picking indie games over AAA a bit more. Indie developers are putting a lot more work into games just out of passion. Look at a lot of the small indie studios that are kind of popping off as of recent, like with Hollow Knight going ham, with with Palworld going crazy. Like all these smaller studios are standing out and been pushing for a while. And I feel like a lot of the people have been kind of leaning towards indie studio games a bit more, which is good. Because that is the smaller studios. They're the little guys that do need that extra little bit of support. And this was huge to see the whole community, the whole industry coming together. You had studios teaming up with Palworld, doing like in-game pals and stuff like that. Then you had a lot of the community as consumers playing the game, just loving it, and a strong background community playing it.
In the future, and
it was
opens the door
super
for
strong
challengers to arrive and new ideas to come
for the
in,
industry
and
as a whole.
Options, and then we get more better games. This is how competition works. You had some journalists and players
that's a perfect example. You hear that?
Celebrating that. That's something that we should be looking to support because that ultimately just means better Pokemon games in the future, and it also opens the door for other challengers to arrive and new ideas to come in, and then we get more options, and then we get more better games. This is how competition.
This is how it works. Look at what Marvel Rivals, for example. We just covered it in the last couple of streams, right? Marvel Rivals came out, and then there was received a lot of love and a lot of hate. Obviously, you can't put anything out in this world anymore without it receiving a bit of both, right? You're not going to be for everyone, and you're not everyone's cup of tea, but it is what it is. But when Marvel Rivals came out, it was a big challenge in a way to Overwatch, in the sense that it was probably one of the first hero shooters to really stand up to Overwatch in a very, 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 very long time. And there was a lot of debate, argument around it all, and the exact same things could be said. Overwatch was just had taken a lot of concepts from Team Fortress 2, TF2. If you are, young enough to be, or old enough to be playing that when you're young, it was the same thing. Overwatch was the big game. It was the big the big whale of the hero shooter space, and then Marvel Rivals came in. It was I say this very lightly, but controversial kind of game in the sense of it being in the hero shooter space, and it mimicking and copying Overwatch with certain things and abilities. And really, at the end of the day, just like Pokemon looking from inspiration from Digimon, Overwatch looked towards TF2 for inspiration. And at the end of the day, after the year or so, I think everyone has realized that that Marvel Rivals is the best thing that could have happened to the hero shooter genre, because it now opens the door, or has opened the door for now Overwatch to step up their game as a game, if you feel me. So it gives it a huge opportunity in that sense, where now games are competing to be better. They're trying to outdevelop each other in a good way, in a good competitive way and light. And it has brought more happiness to both communities, one the Marvel Rivals and one the Overwatch community. So it's not bad having multiple games that can be somewhat similar in style, take, and idea, and all that sort of stuff. It's not exactly the same, right?
Lawsuits. How disgusting are you? What are you doing? Cheering for litigation between multi-billion-dollar companies and quite literally like
yeah, it was ridiculous.
Number indie studios. All because you've invested your entire life and personality into Pokemon. Terminally millennial. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. The Pokemon community can be quite
Nintendo won.
Quite unhinged sometimes. They love their little Pokemans.
Patenting the ability to capture creatures, to be able to ride them. What were you guys thinking?
It's ridiculous. It allows no creative freedom for any studio or anyone ever.
This game's success is a huge win for indie developers.
Makes zero sense.
Massive win for indie developers. Because it can prove just how high these guys can reach, and more or less, it also, just by fighting this legal battle and getting all the way through this, they have now set a precedent to stop anything similar happening to somebody else.
Makes zero sense.
Once you fight this fight, that fight is over, at least for now in this case. And it's just going to make sure that more people can make games like this. We're going to see more creature collecting games. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, we already are. There's like Amiibo or whatever it's called. There's one of those games is going to be coming out soon that also looks pretty good, at least given the eyeball test at the very least.
Yeah, Amiibo looks really good. And this is what I was saying earlier before we were watching it. It just allows that creative freedom for studios to pursue ideas and stuff in that route. At the end of the day, we can all see that Pokemon are running out, or Nintendo are running out of ideas for Pokemon. So why not allow some creative freedom in the space? Just allow it.
But that's what we end up getting as a result of this.
You've got enough money, Nintendo. Chill.
We get better games as a result of that.
Chill.
But I think that Palworld has to be the clearest picture, the clearest example of the divide between players and the industry. What we want and what they think we need.
Yes, sir.
They do not represent us. They do not respect our taste. That much has been proven by this game and this game's success and every.
How many Pokemon games are there? And they are literally how many Pokemon games are there? There's so many. I don't even know. Hot damn. So I'm assuming this is the main generations, like Gen 1 through 9. And then here we've got some side games, some extra stuff. And excluding those extra games, because I'm not fully aware or in the Pokemon space, but all of these are pretty much the exact same game.
Everything that these guys have done to try to stop it. And our support proved that their authority means absolutely nothing anymore. Absolutely nothing.
Slightly different colored, slightly better pixels, and
the whole reason that Palworld was able to make it this far,
slightly different creatures.
Pocket Pair was able to fight their legal battles the way that they have. It's because we continue to support them financially and also emotionally in a way, because people really like their game, so they felt pushed to be able to continue to support it. We actually ended up in the midst of this revealing to the rest of the industry what players actually want. Fun games.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a real problem.
Gameplay focused games.
When Palworld first launched into early access, I honestly took
crazy concept, right?
At face value. Some of the character designs are clearly inspired.
Crazy concept.
Sure. Okay, I'll give you that. I can also understand for some people that they might be offended by some of the game's themes. I definitely don't respect those people, but I can understand how they got there. But after all of this time, and after seeing everything that this game has delivered, I finally understand what the real issue was for a lot of people in this industry, which is the fact that they just don't get it. And that confusion frustrates them. What do you mean players want a game that's filled with themes of cute animal slavery and toilet-level humor? What do you mean they want to shove a penguin into a rocket launcher or have a monkey following them around with an AK-47? What do you mean they want hot anime chick?
I jumped on the other day and I saw there's cat sword that you throw cats and it meows. I love it. It's awesome. Had both of us laughing.
Bosses that they can capture in a ball and then force into hard labor. What do you mean they want this offensive
labor pals? It's amazing.
Game made of Unreal assets and fever dreams, and it's somehow now the best-selling game in the last decade. Palworld is simply the antithesis of what many people in this industry believe games should actually be. They are the same people that give Mixtape a 10 out of 10, that act confused when players are upset. They think that Dragon Age the Veilguard should have been a success. They think that Marathon is receiving undeserved hate, and they consistently fail to recognize what we want from video games is not.
Yeah, look, Marathon was quite interesting. I'm not sure how I felt about that one. It was cool.
Not necessarily the same.
It was a good game, but I don't know. Just
honestly, probably a lot
the
of
environment was
simply just do not care that Palworld's designs
UI.
are influenced by Pokemon.
Crazy, girl, you're crazy.
And that it's not the most refined or polished game ever made. I don't care that it isn't cinematic, that it doesn't have a progressive narrative, or that it refuses to bend over backwards for people that don't want to be offended by a video game.
I think that's a problem too. I was playing a lot of other games. I was playing like Diablo 4 the other day, a bit of Ori and everything. I noticed like everything is very story heavy and stuff like that. Very cinematic. Oh, look at this, look at that.
This game is messy.
This game is just gameplay.
Drawn out tutorial
jump in,
keeping me from actually playing
gameplay.
And I'm not forced to stop and watch a movie every half an hour while I'm playing the game. And that I actually get to the gameplay almost immediately after I turn it on. And I'm going to say the reason that this game has become as successful as it is because Pocket Pair actually just leaned harder into what players wanted instead of trying to please the rest of the industry with what they think they would want. I started a fresh save going into 1.0, and it's kind of taken me a while to be able to get back to where I was because I've spent the last week moving.
Oh, this is about
everything set up, but my God, did these guys cook!
This is about to be us.
What anybody expected them to do, especially the people who had claimed that this game was a blatant cash grab and they would be abandoning the game shortly after their launch. But Palworld 1.0.
Oh, surely they did not. They cooked. They cooked on it way longer. They kept cooking for 2 years and released probably one of the best games in the last decade.
Side quests that are scattered across the map, new biomes, and 72 new additional creatures on top of everything.
72. Are you seeing that? 72.
They already added in their earlier updates. It has an absurd amount of new weapons and armor sets and crafting options. Base building is enormous now with countless materials, workstations, decorations, and structures to be able to build with. They added expeditions that allow you to send your pals out to gather resources. They expanded the pal customization with mutations and awakenings, allowing you to make them as powerful as you want. During early access, they even added Global Pal Box, which allows you to be able to take pals between worlds. And also, they did this alongside the Pal Arena, which means you can go and fight other players on a server or face NPCs in three battles, and you get a bunch of rewards. It's crazy what these guys have done. But gameplay, notice that's everything that I just mentioned. Almost everything this developer has focused.
All they focused on was gameplay, loop, and play. Play, hours of gameplay. You have one of the biggest worlds, so many creatures to explore, so many places to go, so many bosses to fight, so many arenas to go to, and they've just added insanely more
revolves around the one thing that players care about the most, and that is the act of playing this game. They've improved the visuals and touched up some of the creature designs, but the overwhelming majority of the effort that they put into this game went towards.
Okay, you can see that animation work has improved a lot since EA.
Giving players more game to play and more
ways
to be able to play it. That is really all people are asking for. It's a massive reason why Palworld has been as successful as it has been to this point, because people just want more gameplay and they just want a fun game to play. Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobe has delivered the exact same basic message across multiple interviews at this point. He recognizes that creating something completely new is difficult, so whenever possible, he just studies what already works. He has described Palworld as a mashup of everything that he finds interesting and everything he has seen succeed. The things people have already proven that they want. In an interview with Euronews, he had said that
inspiration is a powerful thing, baby.
When he was asked why Palworld combines cute creatures with guns, especially when discussing the importance of American players, his answer was simple. Americans like to shoot things.
This guy, he knows what's up.
thing is that I think a lot of people in the games industry would probably be
He
offended
knows
by how
what's
blunt
up.
all of this is. Mizobe seems to lack the creative drive, the artistic ethics, and the grand vision they think a developer is supposed to have. He just wants to make a consumerist game, a
That's
grab
crazy.
bag of things that people already like, all of it bundled together into something that people can enjoy and play for hundreds of hours. Oh my God, how disgusting. But you know what? Regardless of what they think, he was right, and so are we. Games at their baseline are entertainment. They can move you, they can inspire you, they can teach you something, but the most important thing is that they are supposed to be fun. So when a game comes along that is that pure, distilled, crystallized fun with no barriers, no censorship, and no concern for whether it's too messy or too deranged, people are going to enjoy it.
It's just straight to the point.
With Palworld.
It's just
The games industry
gameplay.
at large has become so self-obsessed with the smell of their own shit. They have almost completely disregarded the purpose of these games and are chasing their own version of it. They want the Hollywood version of it. They think that these games need to...
These big AAA studios are almost like Hollywood peeps that found like Unreal Engine cinema. Like there's two different, so in Unreal Engine there's two different there's a couple of versions actually. Like there's like Unreal Engine like a UI what is it, VR or something like that, and then there's like Unreal Engine Cinema, and then there's Unreal Engine Editor, and it's like these Hollywood like studios have found this Unreal Engine Cinema, and they've just gone ballistic in it, man. Like all these games recently have purely just been walk 5 feet, watch this video, walk 5 more feet, watch this video, walk 5 more feet, and then check out this. It's another video.
Influence the audience, create works of art, get lost in the process.
It's all they've been doing. It's ridiculous.
Like they're making a blockbuster movie, and then
they're making a movie instead of an actual game.
And they severely overestimate how much people appreciate.
The only cinema in Palworld is every time you walk into a boss fight, they play a little boss animation thing, and that's it. And I'm pretty sure you can skip it.
Over the product. Pocket Pair CEO recognizes that games are products first and creative work second. He wants to make money. That's his entire purpose. He has said that many times before, and he knows the best way to do
Man likes money, you gotta respect it.
Making games the same way players do when buying them. You know, for all the biggest criticisms about the lack of originality for Palworld, I find it really hilarious that people want to prop up Pokemon as something to overshadow this game when Game Freak and Nintendo have been churning out the same repetitive slop for decades now with little to no innovation.
See?
You know, I played Pokemon ZA.
What did I say before? It's the exact same game.
They tried to innovate, ironically, just copying Palworld's involvement of the player.
There's 38 games and they're all the goddamn same. It's ridiculous. And then Palworld came out, and then they thought, oh, you know what's a good idea? You know what's a good idea? Let's make this game. It was trash.
Not just the creatures, but all they did was
it was trash. I saw so much gameplay on this and it was shocking.
Activity other than just spamming buttons and waiting for abilities to come off of cooldown.
Cooldowns,
you know, as shallow as they try to make Palworld seem, you are shooting guns, you're laying traps, you're throwing grenades, you're grabbing a pal and using them as a flamethrower, you're riding on the back of them to use.
There's endless things to do. Endless.
In copying the old, Palworld ended up making something far better, far newer, more dynamic and interactive, a creature collector that honestly has more flexibility than any game has ever had before, including any game that's been made by Nintendo. Palworld is honestly just a fantastic game now. Simple as that. And, you know, one of the things that I realized when I was playing through it again is that they even made the act of collecting creatures better than it's ever been. You know, in Pokemon...
Well, that's the thing, too. Like, in every other game, like Ark, you have creatures that kind of sit around the base. Like, you can tame them, and you can make a cool little zoo. But you can't really do a whole lot with the actual animals. You tame them, and then... you're basically playing a zoo simulator with dinosaurs, or a Jurassic Park simulator, if you will. And then you have Pokemon where you capture them and you put them in a Pokédex, and then, well, you put them in a Pokédex, and that's kind of it. And this is where kind of Palworld, you know, stepped in, was a little bit more innovative. You know, you can phrase it in many ways. You know, you can have your pals assist you around the base. You can have your pals slave around the
You
base,
collect a creature, and it's just filling
or
out your
what,
Pokédex.
whatever, however you like to phrase it. But that is the difference.
It expands what you can do at your.
That is the huge difference. They made it way better for. There's reason to capture something. You want to go out and capture it now.
Better than it's ever been. You know, in Pokemon, you collect a creature, and it's just filling out your Pokédex just for the completion's sake. In Palworld, catching them gives you more experience. It expands what you can do at your base. It lets you strengthen your other pals, and it opens up more ways to play. They didn't just improve the combat or exploration. They made the act of collecting creatures actually matter.
Important. It makes sense to do it.
Pokemon finally becomes a bit.
It makes sense to do it.
Palworld did not become successful because it tricked a bunch of people into buying a knockoff. It became successful
because you get to make slaves out of them.
Because there was a massive audience that was waiting for something,
as well as
take this genre somewhere new,
random places, and
I know that's what a lot of people have been waiting for.
Fun
people
shit.
have spent years now asking for Pokemon to make larger worlds, deeper multiplayer, better performance, more interaction with the creatures, and gameplay that extends beyond just simply pressing attack on a menu. Nintendo could ignore a lot of those demands because, well, there was nowhere else for that audience.
I mean, in all fairness, turn-based combat is what Pokemon was known for. The only thing that they could, like, the way that Pokemon could have gone, like, Palworld, you're just in a battle. You're kind of in the thick of it, right? But when it comes to Pokemon, what they could do is like a very similar style, 3D, you're running around and you've got this explorative terrain. You can go to your different towns. But when it comes to a combat, maybe you get in a fight, but it's turn-based fighting, but there's just a bit more one moveset, and maybe that the player can actually interact as well. And then also, like we were saying before, have a reason for collecting the actual Pokemon.
Every single competitor remains small enough for these guys to dismiss, and Pokemon continue to sell millions of copies because that audience just buys those games anyway, regardless of how little those games move forward. But I think Palworld changes that. It changes those expectations. Your creatures fight alongside you. They work inside your base. They gather resources, operate machinery, serve as mounts. They fundamentally change the way that you move throughout the world. Pocket Pair took the fantasy that people had watching Pokemon as children and built an entire game around actually living alongside those creatures, though it might be a little bit more twisted than people probably thought it would be. It gave people more freedom, more interaction, and more game for $20 or $30 than Nintendo has been willing to offer for twice the price for many years now. Palworld did not steal Pokemon.
I think I remember when we first got the game, it was like 2 months where we were on it every day, 8 hours, like just addicted to that, to early access Palworld. Like so much content, so many hours, so many different creatures, so much to explore, and you're always wanting more and questioning whether you've found it all, essentially. It's really a huge feat in indie game development, for sure.
Pokemon abandoned an audience that Palworld was willing to serve, and I think that audience is a lot bigger than they know. The gatekeepers of the games industry have completely lost control. We are
They're falling,
my friends, and they can't do anything to stop it. We have now proven
they're falling.
Any game, I think, at this point, that our demand outstrips anything that they can say or do to try to change things or move things in a direction that we do not want. And I think this game is probably the clearest example that we have ever seen of the games industry at large, whether it's developers or the press or whoever else, just completely not having or respecting the same taste as players. They are so absolutely confused.
And at the end of the day, they decide what wins. The players. They're buying your game. You stupid studios. Like, actually think, who you selling your game to?
Is that this many people...
Wait, yo, Game Boy?
Because it is an aversion of truth to them. How is this possible? What do you mean? Why isn't it The Last of Us? Why isn't it...
Little cheeky Game Boy?
Mixtape? Why isn't it these other artistic, wasteful, garbage games that nobody wants to give time to? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's pretty simple. We want fun games. Palworld is a very fun game.
Yeah, it's straightforward.
It's not the most creative game. It's not the most compelling game. But man, once you're in it, you're having fun. And
It's
you
fun,
keep playing,
yeah.
and you keep playing, and you keep playing. Every single session
You want to know what's
down,
next?
you put multiple hours in. It is not a game that you sit down to play for 30 minutes and just walk away from it for a week. No, most people are.
Yeah, like I said, we're playing it for a month straight.
That's the reason why the Steam numbers are as high as they are, because the concurrent player is. Yeah, you guys get it. It's just fun to see. I love seeing this happen. And massive congratulations to Pocket Pair and Palworld. It's huge what these guys have done. Not only just the
absolutely a milestone,
or at least the originality that I see in it, the things that they've done with it, and how amazing of a game these guys have made, and getting this game all the way to the finish line with as few people as they had. The team's definitely grown over the years. I think they're closer to 100 people now, but it's crazy that they were able to pull off what they
hats off
people as they had before.
Hats off.
It really is.
I'm pretty sure they started with like 6 or something, or way less than that or something. I don't even remember. It was a really low number though.
And take on one of
it was a crazy low number
in the entire industry, and come out alive.
Yeah.
Not even come
beat out Nintendo. Come out on top by a long shot. Like the game when it first came out was like $20 or something like that, and it's done well over 30 million. So the studio's doing pretty well for themselves now. They're doing pretty well for themselves. They're absolute kings.
And I view this game as one of the catalysts in what I am viewing as a culture war. Not even a culture war. It's a counterculture.
It's an industry like war.
People are sick and tired of the gaslighting. People are sick and tired of people telling them what games should be, or how games should be played, or what games can include, and who games are actually made for. And they just want all that bullshit to go away. And they just want fun video games.
Yeah.
And
it started. I think it generally started around like the Fortnite era. And then BR, so Battle Royale games, kind of got standardized, and the industry, not gamers, but the industry itself, kind of thought that that's where we all wanted games, and then the studios or the industry kind of got a bit brain dead from that phase, and now there's no creative, what's the word? Well, there's no creative integrity for one, but there's just no creative ideas from these studios, from what they already know to be, at least in the gaming space. And it really and since then, since like Warzone then comes out, and then all the following battle royales, and then like newer games and stuff that have been coming out, it kind of moved in a way where they all kind of worked on a similar game genre idea, and the industry kind of moved as one big industry to genre. When that's not what gaming is. It's about enjoying each genre and each individual unique game for what it really is. And they smashed it. Pocket Pair absolutely came out on top. A big W to not only come out on top, but yeah, like I was saying before, sell over 30 million copies. Like started an early access 2 years. Oh my god, I got the hiccups. 2 years ago, and just cooked ever since. This
game has been a part of that, because it showed the contrast between expectations and desires, basically everywhere. One of the other things that I've seen as well is there's been a lot of journalists that have been turncoating pretty quick, and I find that to be
hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
You see a lot of these guys that were like, they were bad-mouthing Palworld.
They're backpedaling so hard.
Of layoffs, and their companies aren't doing that well, and they really need some ad revenue. Now you see these guys really doing their best to try to, positive post about, Pocket Pair and Palworld, because, well, they got to make money.
Backpedaling like no tomorrow.
Guides and stuff like that. I'll give credit where credit is due. Paul Tossi, that guy has loved this game since the minute they came out. I'm telling you, some of these guys are starting to change. The chuddening is happening. You probably wouldn't want to hear that. I think it's true, though. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think of the new setup. Do you guys like the new
Love it. Love the Game Boy. It's awesome.
I hope you do.
It's awesome.
I'm not leaving here anytime soon.
Looks really cozy back here.
Halfway across the country. Literally halfway across the country. So you're stuck with this place. Maybe I'll change.
Looks cozy. But yeah, that's the growth and Palworld's kind of journey over the last 2 years. That's insane. If you did enjoy that video, do jump down into the description. If you want to watch it without me rambling all over it, do jump down, give it some support. He did really great on that video, did some amazing research. They've done really well for themselves. Super impressed by Palworld's journey as an indie studio, and I strongly do believe that it is a huge win. One, for indie developers, two, for the industry as a whole, and three, for the consumers. The consumers are coming out on top, and Palworld and Pocket Pair have done such an amazing job, like beating out and surviving that kind of haranguing from Nintendo over the last couple of years. And like I was saying before, with the 4 or 3 lawsuits or something ridiculous like that, it's kind of just like not. You know, that's not fair. 3 lawsuits on the smallest things. Like, they're really taking away the creative freedom and everything that Palworld and other indie devs can bring to the gaming space. And it's amazing to see the opportunity that Pocket Pair has given future like-minded developers kind of a little bit of hope, a little bit of, you know, bit of a chance of, hey, we can do this. Maybe, perchance, we can actually do this for ourselves, and it allows that creative freedom, which is completely amazing, right? Absolutely amazing.